And we'll stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Okay, look for a motion to adopt the agenda.
Make the motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
support, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, public comment? No public comment? Okay. Okay, we have Janelle with the Child Care Fund monthly report.
I did submit June, July, and August as one report and then September's as a separate. I think they're pretty straightforward. Our current fund balance is $189,609.65. I will be back next week for full board with fiscal year 26 Child Care Fund for full board approval, substantially similar to last year. Still 75% reimbursement with another 10% on the back end of eligible expenses. So state has done us another favor. I don't anticipate needing an increased allocation for next year.
Okay. Good. Any questions? No questions? Okay, a motion to receive and file the report.
Make the motion.
Support? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Janelle.
Thank you.
Okay.
What?
You're next.
Aye.
Yeah, the inmate transports and ambulance invoice reimbursement.
What it says on the agenda.
Okay, didn't realize that quick. So I know I recalled Kim had to remind me what I was wanting to talk about. I had an email from the sheriff, and apparently the Sheboygan County, he indicated that they were, and Bill, hopefully you'll be able to give some information on this, but he said that the Sheboygan County Sheriff's Office had been tracking the time that they spent with indigent inmates. And he was wondering if this is something that we could basically get a reimbursement for the transports to the court and then the inmates being escorted for Polycom. So he said that Sheboygan received about $40,000 in payments for that.
Yeah, I'm not aware of them specifically. I would state that that was a discussion point at one of the state board meetings as to whether systems could submit a plan that included costs for law enforcement in terms of deputies bringing people to court. So if they got approved for that, maybe they did.
Okay,
The general consensus at that meeting was, unless you could specifically show that this particular deputy would not be there but for having to transport, that MIDC would not pay for it. So if they have a dedicated court officer that they added as part of their plan, and they prove to the state that that's what that deputy does, then they might got some reimbursement for it.
okay. Well, he again, he just sent me the email because he must have had a conversation or had some communications and that the Sheboygan County was tracking their hours and got the reimbursement or were getting the reimbursement for about 40,000. So and again, unfortunately, he's not here, but I said, we'll push it to courts and public safety. And then knowing that you'd be here, that we could have that conversation and discussion. So I'll just kind of see if you can get us any information on that. So that way we can go back to the sheriff.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
And then what was the second thing that I had?
Ambulance invoice reimbursement.
Okay, so do you have an update on that?
I think that's all been agreed upon.
It was agreed upon, and and the reason I put it on today's meeting was just to kind of get a follow-up to see if any updates were.
I don't know. I'd have to talk with Anna. I thought, through the email train, Jane, I thought it was all agreed upon. We made a mistake. We have fixed it at our end and we are reimbursing you that amount of money.
Okay,
You haven't got it then yet.
no,
Okay.
no. And I did check today before this meeting. One of the things that I did originally, the clerk, and that was one that we had initially pulled, was one of the, or actually two of the invoices for this year. Initially, we pulled them from our invoices to pay back a couple, I think it was probably 2 months now. But I did talk to Carrie and I said, just make the corrections on those and get those paid. So the most recent ones have been paid at the correct amount.
I'm gonna probably be talking to Rachel tonight because there's a council meeting.
Okay,
And so I can get back to you, John, if that's who I need to go through.
yep, that's fine. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess if you let me know, I'll let the board know.
Okay. Yep, I will find out the status of that, but right offhand, I thought it was taken care of and it might need, maybe it's this council meeting too, not sure.
They only pay bills, what, twice a month?
Yeah. But I
Okay.
will definitely check on it and get back to you, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're all set. Hey, we have Bill Pfeiffer.
Good afternoon. Just a few things today. We have two contracts for this consideration, but before we get to those specifically, when I was last here in August, there was some concern about what was going to go on with these contracts, whether they might be cut, whether the state might not appropriate the same amount of money to MIDC that it has in the past. And what's occurred, although the state has appropriated a little bit less money this year than last year, because there are several plans across the state, including our county, that hasn't used all the money. They shaved those down a little bit. So everybody is still anticipated to be fully funded, even though the state appropriation for MIDC went down several $1 million. So our grants have not formally been approved yet, though they are on the state board meeting agenda for tomorrow. I have received information from our regional manager that they're all in the approval process. I did look at the minutes for the meeting tomorrow. It does show the breakdown of our plan. It does show the changes that we were asked to make pursuant to discussions with the state. And unless something crazy happens tomorrow, they should be approved tomorrow.
Is that why it's dated October 1st already?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the fiscal year is October 1 through September 30. And because we didn't have approval yet, we couldn't submit contracts to the county for approval because we didn't know for sure whether we were going to get the appropriations that we had asked for. So we are getting those. So the first contract is for the amount that's paid to the public defender office. This is actually a couple of $1,000s less per month than it was last year. The main reason is primarily due to there was some monies that were appropriated last year that were anticipated to be used as what's called a rural shortage attorney, primarily due to conflicts that had existed previous year. That amount of money wasn't spent this year or wasn't spent at the level that we thought it would be spent at. So because of that, we're going to have some extra money. But what was also in that budget was some additional monies for the public defender's office and some additional monies for experts and investigators. Because that was not needed and is not needed this year, that caused the overall budget for the public defender's office to go down. So this number, like I said, represents a couple of thousand less than it did last year. And so we're asking for approval of that contract. Obviously, I would, after tomorrow's meeting, assuming I get confirmation of the approval, I would share that with Jesse, and just so that when this goes to full board, everybody knows that it's been approved by the state. I don't have the state contract yet. I won't have the state contract until they approve it. We usually get it about a week after approval. So I'm anticipating I'd have it early next week. That will still have to come back for formal board approval as well. So everything looks like it's a go at this point. So I'm asking for approval of that action item number 1.
You're starting with the first agreement?
Correct.
Okay, I did have a couple of questions.
Yep, go ahead.
Because, this is new to me and it is a huge sum of money. I mean, in my opinion, it is. And so what I was wondering is that you made mention of not utilizing funds. Do you prepare reports systematically to the state of what you spend? Because this being a grant, if you don't spend the money, they pull it back.
Yeah, what happens when we don't spend the money, and the last 2 years, we've gotten a lot better in terms of budgeting. The first couple of years, we had quite a bit of money left over. One year, we had about 200,000 left over. The next year, we had about 150,000 left over.
But you budget, okay, what I'm wondering is that you budget, and so once it's budgeted, do you, throughout your year, do you prepare expense reports to the state? I mean, with the experience that we just had with the health department, when expenses aren't reported, they get pulled back.
The way it works, we do a quarterly report that does have to be approved by MIDC. Sometimes they ask us questions about this or that, but we do quarterly reports, and then we do a report at the end of the year. For any unexpended funds, they roll over into the next year.
Okay,
So what they do is, so our grant this year is somewhere in the range of 1.1 million. If we have 100,000 left over, then they're going to take the 100,000 off that 1.1 million, and they're going to give us roughly a quarter of that $1 million every 3 months as we go through the year.
so your public defender fund goes through the MIDC and then they go to the state? Is that how it works, or?
Well, so the state appropriates the grant, and then the county pays county share as well. The county share is going to be roughly the same as it was last year. It's going to be $161,000 and some change. So that hasn't changed much over the last several years. But what happens is that 161,000 has to be spent first from an accounting standpoint, and then we spend the rest of the money. And then at the end of the year, if we've got money left over, it rolls into next year's grant. So nobody gets that money. The county doesn't get it. The public defender doesn't get it. It gets subtracted from the next year.
So what I assumed from what the action item was is that there's a lump sum and you get automatic payments every month of a certain amount. You don't have to bill the county for it. It's just automatically given to you.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And the other question I had was that there's reference as to being an independent contractor. Do you or does the firm, do they get 1099s on money, funds that are paid to?
So the public defender office is a 501c3, not for profit.
Right.
They W-2 their employees. The funds that get paid to me or any of the other attorneys that do any of the conflict work, we get 1099s from the county at the end of the year.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know if you did that. Okay. Okay. So, those were my questions, and I guess, I have to look for a motion to approve it.
You want to make a motion? Sure, I'll make the motion. I'll support it.
Okay,
Action item number 1.
action item number 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have to roll call? Yeah, we have roll call.
I have some.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. I always jump ahead. I'm sorry.
So the only thing, one of the things that I think should be changed in this, reading through, and I know I probably didn't catch it before, but it references under the recitals on Part B, the MAC system will directly managed by the managed assigned council administrator who reports to the Alpena County Executive Manager. We just need to change that to the Alpena County admin, because we don't technically have an executive manager.
Okay.
And then, so a question, you brought it up, and I just, maybe more of a clarification from my point. The county under compensation, under item 3, the 868,364.05 or the amount approved by the MIDC. So you mentioned that they budget and there was like $2 million less. So and I guess my question is, could the MIDC approve a lesser amount than the 868 that's on this? And would then the public defender's office have to take that amount?
They would either have to take it or they'd have to say, we don't want to do the cases anymore, get somebody else to do them, which would be highly unusual.
Okay,
But the MIDC could say, no, Alpena County, we've fly-spec'd your budget, we've looked at your caseload, we've looked at the attorneys that you've got and what you're paying them. We're only gonna approve 850,000. So that could happen. It's not anticipated that will happen. It's anticipated that they'll approve this number in here. But it's subject to state board approval. So state board, they could shave it down if they decided to. This would also allow for a higher amount if they made it higher, but pretty sure they're not gonna make it higher.
okay.
But they could make it lower. That's correct.
And then you mentioned that there was a lesser amount, so we received 893 last year. We're getting 868. That 25,000 difference, is that kept, is it like it was? I think you mentioned when we were talking the other day, that money goes to the public defender's office. This 25 that they've lowered it, are they assuming that that's going to be kept like in the past? Like if we had excess money, that MIDC money rolls over to the next year. So we get a lesser amount by that amount that we were, I guess that was unused from the previous year. Is that how that works?
That's the plan.
So that 25 should then be, our overall amount will be lowered by that because we have an excess of 25?
Yeah, the state board hasn't decided yet. They've been kicking it around for several meetings. Some of them are of the opinion that it should just be taken off dollar for dollar. Some of them are of the opinion that that money should stay in the public defender budget, just in case they're over this year for some reason. Then they don't have to ask for more money. Some folks have said that money should go back to the county and the county should be holding that money. And some people have said, well, why doesn't the county get to keep that money? They contracted with us, we gave them the money. They did all the cases. Why should that money be counted against next year's grant? So there hasn't been a final answer on that, other than right now, the last 2 years, they've counted it against the grant and reduced our actual number by however much we had left at the end of the year.
Okay. So how, do you know how that will work then? Because this agreement basically is we're going to give them X number of dollars every month. So we sent, and does that actually come from the state or does the money come, because I guess I really never looked at that. Does the money come to the county and then the county issues a check to the public defender's office?
Correct.
Okay. So if we give them a check and like you said, there's a difference of potentially 25 that went to their public defender's office and we're short that, then do you know what'll happen with that? I mean, do we have to ask them for that money or will there be I guess, a final decision with the state, at the state level on how that money should be looked at or viewed?
Yeah, hopefully there'll be a final decision this first quarter. It's been kicked around for quite a while now. I'll tell you one horror story of what happened last year or 2 years ago in Marquette. Marquette had an office similar to ours. They had a good portion of the year where they had an attorney spot that they couldn't fill. The public defender there took the position while we contracted to do the cases. We did all the cases because we had one person less than we should have had. That made all the rest of us do more cases than we should have. And so the $65,000 we had left at the end of the year, I've decided to give it to myself and 2 other attorneys. And the state said, we're coming after you. There really wasn't, they couldn't make them give it back because the contract didn't call for it. It seems like it was kind of, I don't want to say it was criminal, but it seemed like, it just didn't seem right, didn't set right. And they have been kicking this around and kicking this around and kicking this around. So what they have clearly said is if you have money left over, you can't just appropriate it outside of what we've already budgeted you. If you're down an attorney for a period of time, that's just the way it is. You can't automatically just raise the other attorney's salaries because they did a little bit more work for 2 or 3 or 4 months when you were down a person. So they have clearly said you can't do that anymore. But they still haven't determined should that money have went back to Marquette County? Should it set in, should it set in the public defender budget? And if the county's short, does the county get it back that way? They just haven't made a final decision on that yet. But hopefully it'll be soon.
Okay, okay. And I think that was it. Yep. Good.
The only other thing is that there's the paragraph that said that you're required to give reports, like quarterly reports, and I kind of wondered, like, what kind of reports? I don't think I ever recall seeing reports. Are they gonna be statistical or, I mean, with the legal, I'm sure you can't really, just talk about much.
Yeah, it's really just designed to be reports on the quarterly reports that go in. They're due 30 days after the end of the quarter. So for instance, our fourth quarter report, although it ended on September 30th, it's not due until October 30th.
And send it to the administrator then, or?
Well, I try my best, sir.
Okay.
John has gotten on me and said,
Oh, okay.
where's your quarterly report? And so
Okay.
I've sent it in, but that's what it's envisioned. It's also envisioned just to keep you folks updated if there's any things new on the horizon or anything's changed or
Yeah,
anything that should be brought to your attention. I try to do that, but I certainly don't appear at every core committee meeting. I think all of you know that, so.
yeah. Okay, I'm good. The only other thing is that on the second one of yours, there's a different date on that first paragraph. So you must have come out later than for the managed assigned council. The recitals A is on October 31st, 2017. And
That's when, that was going back to when MIDC kind of was originally put in place.
with this one, the first one says July 31st, 2020, but it's a little bit worded different. I don't know if
Yeah.
the dates are supposed to be different.
Well, what happened in 17 was we had just a full managed assigned council system. We didn't have a public defender office, although it was the same group of guys, including myself, that was doing all the cases. We weren't a public defender's office. We were simply a private law firm.
Okay.
And then in 20 is when our plan developed, putting into place a public defender office, a 501c3.
I figured the dates should have been different, but I just didn't want down the road to have it be an issue. So that's all. Okay. Questions? Okay, so we have a motion to approve action item 1. And I probably have to do.
Okay. Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray.
Yes. Okay, motion approved. And then you've got your second.
The second contract is for me personally for the managed assigned council administrator role. This did go up from 18,000 to 20,280. The change is based on two things. One, the amounts that have been approved by the state for indigent defense have went from, it was 125 for a misdemeanor, 140 for a felony, 155 for a life offense. They went up this year to 130, 145 and 160. So this represents a difference in the hourly rate. It also represents the anticipated additional hours, basically 1 hour a month, 12 hours for the year that are based on new requirements that I have to do. One is I have to do a personal review and I guess for lack of a better term, grade the attorneys that are doing indigent defense work. And I have to share that with the state. And I also have to make sure that the attorneys are qualified for the type of cases they're handling.
Oh, okay.
So they have now put in standard 7 that says, to do a life offense case, you have to have at least this many jury trials. And so things of that nature. So I have to track a little bit better on the attorney's qualifications and then also critique them. That critique, I don't think Judge Black knows this yet, but I'll let the cat out of the bag right now. It's anticipated that other people in the system would also critique the attorneys. It wouldn't be a public critique, meaning not going to ask Judge Black to stand up in front of the board or anything else to tell you whether Bill Pfeiffer is doing a good job.
I'm gonna do that here in a minute.
But it'll it'll basically be prosecutors, other defense attorneys, probation officers, judges, any other court personnel to kind of just, on a scale system, rate the attorneys. Once again, that won't be shared publicly. It'll just be a way to kind of see if other people in the system think that the attorneys are doing an adequate job. So some attorneys will get a higher score, some attorneys will probably get a lower score. If they get real low, it's anticipated that I'm supposed to, I don't want to say drop the hammer on, but say, hey, we've had some issues with, for instance, you being late for court. And so you need to do a better job on, being to court on time. And it could include like an action plan for the attorneys to kind of get them operating a little bit more efficiently. And that will probably be true for myself.
I loved it when you said late for court. That's phenomenal.
I've never been late for court. I've just been in other courts at the same time that I should have been in Judge Black's court. So there's a difference. I would challenge him on whether I was late or not.
How many attorneys do you have at the public defender's office?
Well, we have, and that'll be another update that I give in just a second here, but there is a new employee there. So right now there are 4 full-time employees. With the new employee, it'll be 5 in Alpena. And then there is, we had 2 in Oscoda that were covering Oscoda, and we're going to start covering Montmorency, but 1 left relatively quickly. So there is just 1 attorney in Oscoda that's doing Oscoda and a little bit in Montmorency. So in the office overall, there's 6 full-time attorneys right now.
Okay,
Yeah, that does not include me or anybody else that does any of the conflict work. So there's 6 full-time on-staff attorneys at the public defender.
okay. Any question? My only other question was the 1099, but so I look for a motion to approve action item 2.
I'll support.
Questions? No questions? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray.
Yes, motion approved. Thank you. Thank you for answering my.
Just one other update, and that is we do have a new attorney there. His name is Chris Alexander. He has, I don't think he's met Judge Black yet officially, but he has met Judge Curtis. He is primarily hired to do arraignments and misdemeanor work. He is an older gentleman, around my age. But he has not a whole lot of experience in criminal law. So he's not, he should not meet the standard for doing anything other than misdemeanors right now. Hopefully over time, though, he'll get up to speed and start doing more than that. But right now, he's primarily doing arraignments and some misdemeanors in district court here in Alpena. And he just started probably a month or so ago.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to start with the timeliness of Mr. Piper.
So this is where you give your review?
Actually, Bill knows that I think he's a great attorney, so I don't want him to get any bigger head than he already has. So I appreciate you folks allowing me to appear here today. This is just a draft policy for firearms possession within the county buildings and specifically within the courts. I guess I want to start by talking first how I even got to putting this together. One was because there have been some recent incidents for security within the courts that have caused me some concern. Previously as prosecutor, I carried a pistol for a short period of time, decided I didn't need it and I didn't really want it. But there's been some recent things and some concerns that have been stated. Frankly, just some individuals that don't necessarily, and I'm not talking about the public defenders, but some individuals that I just don't feel safe with. So I was thinking about carrying. And if I was thinking about carrying, it didn't seem appropriate to just make it that I could carry. And I had also received a request from a different elected official about carrying a firearm. The authority for carrying a firearm in the courts is fortunately or unfortunately vested with the chief judge. So that's with me, but there is also for carrying in the county buildings, it would be with the, frankly, with your board. And perceivably the chairman of the board, and how you want to deal with that. And so what I did is I put together this policy to try and just, I guess, begin a conversation. Because to be blunt, I'm not the greatest fan of having firearms in the courthouses. I don't really want it.
Can
I
tell by
also-
your letter.
Huh?
Can tell by your letter.
Yeah, I don't really want it, but at the same time, I recognize that other people do. My primary concerns are having taken the CPL course. I don't mean to be mean to the people that put it on. It is a joke when you consider having people carry in a public building where there's other individuals that are going to be there. I don't think it's sufficient, I guess is what I should say. That's a better way of saying it. I don't think it's sufficient to make sure that we are, people that are able to carry are going to carry responsibly and make sure that they're following appropriate security protocol. Just because you have a CPL does not mean that you understand when is a good time to use a firearm or not. You're not a law enforcement officer. And I guess, so what I was hoping to do is have some MCOL certification or something else that people would have to pass. Bluntly, that's not necessarily enough. I'm not sure that anything is, but I was looking for something more than just a CPL. I haven't been able to arrive at that. And so I guess I just put together this interim policy to allow further discussion. One, to allow people that wanted to carry, that were elected officials based upon their request, as well as ongoing political concerns during a period of time when we might have some further discussion as to where we want to go with this, if at all. To be blunt, I don't think there's there's an awful lot of people within your county that are employees that are not happy that I've even drafted this policy. A lot of people don't even want other individuals, whether they're elected officials and have a CPL, to carry at all. So I think that's something that needs to be considered in our discussion. But again, I put this together as just kind of a draft interim policy to start a discussion, and frankly, because I was considering it, somebody else had been looking at it. So I don't have a decision for you. I don't have, we have to do this. This is merely a point of a beginning discussion. Currently, the policy that's in place for the courts is that it has to come to the chief judge, and then I can approve it based upon their request. That's how it is currently. My preference is that there be 2 people that are approving it, me and hopefully a person from your board with other safeguards. But again, that's for your discussion. So.
Have you reached out to MCOL for?
I reached out to individuals that deal with MCOL certification, and none of them necessarily felt comfortable being in charge of that because they didn't. It's sheriff departments. That's where you do your MCOL certification on a yearly basis, and putting them in that position when they also have their funding sources. And again, keep in mind, this is for multiple counties, but I don't think that they really wanted to be in a position where they were seen as the approval or not approval authority for carrying a firearm within the building.
Who gives the instructors that do the course? Like I went through the course like 7 years ago,
Right.
a full day's course, and it was a guy from UPS. Who gives them the certification to do it? Because I felt it was very, very thorough. It was all day.
It is thorough and it's all day, but I'll just use an example. As a judge, if I'm carrying a pistol, I'm like the last person that should be pulling out a pistol because I am the one person that's this way and everybody else is that way.
Right. Yeah.
So if I pull out a pistol, I'm literally the one pointing it in the direction of everybody else. And I guess what I want to make sure is that people understand that. And my concern is just because somebody passed a CPL course 7 years ago and has continually renewed it, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're keeping that in the forethought of their mind and that they're going to be appropriate with a firearm.
They do give you a section of when and how and where it's appropriate to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some instructors are better than others.
Mhm.
I guess I was just,
But But again, though,
The typical
Think of it
abundance
as-
of caution
yeah.
type thought process. There are individuals, and you can say this with anybody. There's attorneys that are better than others. There are judges that are better than others. There's people that you think maybe have a CPL and should be able to carry, and people that have a CPL that you think maybe shouldn't be able to carry. And I was just looking for an additional little measurement to make sure that if they are going to carry, that they've achieved whatever that additional little level of certification. So maybe we'll have Bill Piper and his team they can grade us as well as to whether or not we should carry a firearm while we're grading them on how good an attorney they are. But it's in reality, it's just, I don't know that I feel comfortable with certain people just saying, well, I've got a CPL, so therefore give me a pistol that I can carry, at work. And I did leave this to just elected officials because I have a huge concern, and I can tell you, I've received complaints about this as well, because this says only elected officials. There's other individuals, not necessarily, well, I guess I'll just leave it vague, but there's other individuals that have indicated that they'd like to carry and they aren't elected officials. Well, I have a concern about that. If you're an employee and you're a disgruntled employee and now you have a firearm, and we've got part of the security plan that we had for the county years ago was putting in place all these secured areas. And the idea was that behind those secured areas, nobody can get access to. So you're safe. But once you put a gun in those areas, it's not the same thing anymore. So that's why I think this is a bigger discussion than just, here's a policy, grab the policy, run forward with it. And I'm not sure that there's any silver, I guess I don't want to say silver bullet, but there's no easy answer. But that's why I put this in a policy that would expire on December 31st, 2025. And the idea was that between now and then, hopefully there would be some discussion. If we want a discussion, if not, then it can just revert back to what we had in place previously, which is just go to Ed and see what Ed says. And if he approves, you're great. The only problem is I don't think it puts a lot in place for people to understand, except for my ability to make a decision and say yes or no. So.
okay.
Do you know of any other places that have approved something like this? And then what type of other requirements are put in place?
There was a guy that I know that used to work down at the State House that said something about elected officials had been approved, but I never saw a plan. His name was Jesse.
I can actually get a hold of that. I never.
So I have not looked at any other additional plans. I've not done any research as to where else this is in place. This is, to be blunt, I think, keep saying that, but this is something that is not unique to our county, but regardless of what other people think, it's got to be something that's for our counties. Part of the discussion that's been with other individuals when I've gone around talking to people is, well, this would be a perfect time to talk about security. Why don't we just have better security? And I think the answer to that is various different. There's a lot of different points. One of which is we have 3 different courthouses or courtrooms that we have to protect. And so how does it impact that? So I don't have an easy answer for that, but I can tell you that's something that it's on the minds of other people as to how we move forward. I can also let you know that I'm not sure bailiffs are really keen on everybody carrying a pistol. So whatever we do, I think we have to keep all that into consideration. But again, this came up because I was asked by an elected official to be able to carry. I've considered carrying, and I didn't think it was appropriate that if I considered carrying, not to at least bring it up so that other people could have a discussion point on it.
So do we want to?
I was just gonna say, just on to piggyback on what the judge said. So with the Michigan House, the Capitol building, you could not conceal or open carry, with the exception is if you were an elected lawmaker, then that ban was not, that restriction wasn't on you. You could either open or conceal carry. Sometimes you had people who, I don't want to say abuse the process, but they like to be obnoxious, and do things that were maybe a little bit overboard, but and all in all, I think a lot of people appreciated the fact that lawmakers were able to carry. Especially with some of the stuff that as the judge kind of hinted to, you know, with the political climate down there and elsewhere now, so.
So when you adopt this type of policy, you adopt a policy, does it go out for a hearing or we go to full board or?
You would approve it here, it would go to the consent calendar for the full board to approve. And then it'd be up to the judge to implement or not. Basically what you're doing is authorizing the policy he wrote.
Well, and I'll actually make it easy for you. So currently, I'm the approval authority. So I can approve this policy as it's currently written. But what I can tell you is I'm not going to reapprove it without you folks giving me some direction. So
Gotcha.
that's, I'm okay putting this in place for a temporary time frame if that's what you as a consensus want me to do. But I want to make sure that there's going to be a discussion because like I said, I have some additional concerns and I just want to make sure that we're not going to have every Tom, Dick and Harry carrying a firearm in the county building. And frankly, if you folks don't want me to approve other people, I'm okay with that. I'm not a big fan of giving everybody a firearm in a building behind closed locked doors. But I can also understand that with everything that's going on, that there needs to be a discussion point for it. So that's why I present.
Can we?
I would say that nearly any office, I think, has a concern about safety, does have an elected official within proximity, if not within that actual office. So I would caution the board against expanding it to anybody who's not elected official.
I agree with that.
You don't have to do anything. You can tell me to do nothing.
Right, right.
So there doesn't have to be action, but I wouldn't mind having some direction.
Well, I think, and I know we've had a conversation about this, I do think that there should be additional requirements, not just to say, hey, look, I just got a CPL, so now I can kind of do whatever I want to do. There needs to be maybe other requirements, whether, I'm not sure what those requirements could be, but I think it would be beneficial to us if we did have additional requirements as well.
I'll try and look into what those could even possibly be. I've not frankly done a lot of research on.
Can we approve it temporarily like he's requesting? to
Well, I
help
think
him
what we
out?
need to do is, I guess, gather more information and then come back and then have a discussion again. And, you know, you can let us know if you find out anything. We can do some research on our side and then I guess have further discussion at a future courts and public safety meeting.
Do we have requirements that we want him to look into? Or have him come up with them?
Well, I think he can look into some things and I think I can do some research as well. I know Jesse, or the judge mentioned, you had mentioned, was it a document or something that existed or?
No, it's just the rules of the Michigan House for the Capitol is it's a gun-free zone with the exception of that law or that rule doesn't apply to elected law.
So I guess we can look into this further and then get some
Make a
other
motion.
additional information and then have a future discussion.
Okay. All right. Well, I won't sign anything until you tell me to, because I can keep it the way it currently is and go from there, but I appreciate your time, folks. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for coming.
Madam Chair, just one quick note on that. We do have an individual who just recently joined the staff who teaches CPL classes, but does have a background with maybe some additional training that could take place. As the judge kind of recommended that, you know, kind of attempts to discuss things like, you know, when the appropriate time to maybe, you know, direction, stuff like that, be conscious, a little bit more of a consciousness with handling when you're inside of a building versus just in general.
Oh, currently that's employed.
Yeah, so we can maybe work with that employee to develop maybe
I know there's somebody at the sheriff's department that actually teaches CPL classes. So
we could work with them too, to maybe do an expanded training that individuals who want to carry.
Yeah, we'll keep it
Okay.
current. Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, I think
don't know if, I know the sheriff is on Zoom, but I also know he's having issues. I think his memo was pretty self-explanatory though. But,
Yeah, so he had reached out to me initially and mentioned this idea of having, getting some AEDs for some of his patrol cars. They do currently have a couple in their patrol cars. But I know there's been discussion with the change with the future of the Echo Tango units in the further regions of the county that he just thought that this might be a beneficial item to have in those patrol cars for the individual deputies that may be in an area that could respond quicker than potentially the city. So I said, I just mentioned, I think this would be a good place to have that discussion, is bring this to courts and public safety. I think it would be a good use of some of the money. And then obviously, I don't know if those deputies, there'd be some sort of training.
I already trained the deputies, so every 2 years I go out to the sheriff's department
Okay,
and train them. They get BLS cards. I do 2 different sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. So they're all trained BLS. They just used their training, the corrections did here not too long ago on an individual that went cardiac arrest at the jail.
Yep.
I think it was either I talked to Sheriff Smith or Sergeant Ritter, I'm not sure, but there is some limitations, like AEDs are great, but they can't be left in cars, right? They constantly buy batteries. There is a new one out there, a Vive, that it can be rechargeable through like a cell phone cord. But there is some expenses after the fact. When I put them out to the community or have communities buy them, I tell them, you better put $100 a year away, because about every 4 years, you're gonna have to buy batteries. And every time you use them, you're gonna have to buy new pads that are about $75. So it does could be very cost, ineffective, really. I have quite a few out in the community that I'm always worried about, how are we gonna keep them going? At Starlight Beach, the duck parks, or not duck, excuse me, the Boat Harbor, Culligan Plaza. I'm trying to get groups to support them, so we'll want to look at that.
so you said that they shouldn't be left outside. Is that be due to the weather, the temperatures and
Yes.
stuff?
Yep,
So during the summer, it's probably okay to be them in the.
no, they can get too hot too. They can overheat, John, and then you have problems, or too cold. So, I mean, if a car's parked outside, it really's got to come in to the sheriff's department, or if they're taking take-home cars, they either need to be parked in a garage, my work truck does, or taken inside. They're not gonna be workable, and somebody's gotta be in charge of them.
So what do you do? What you said, there's some out like at the parks.
Yep.
Are those put out then every day?
No, so I have one at Starlight Beach. I just took down. I put it out there right around before Memorial Day, excuse me, and then I just took it down about a week ago. And I had no problems with the heat inside of its case. So it didn't affect it. But if they're in a hot car,
Yeah.
it gets much hotter. There's no air movement, and they don't get ruined per se, but they have to be plugged back in, and it's like recalculated.
I know we have them at the different parks as well.
Yep.
So I kind of would like, the sheriff's input because of the, and I'm sure, when you're talking 13, what is it? Is it
I think it was 28,000.
That's right. It was
13, yeah.
Yeah, they're looking at the rechargeable battery. Yeah, that's.
so 13 additional units? I guess I'd like his input on, you say the pads, and again, the pads only need to be replaced if you're,
Every 2 years they do. though.
okay. You said 75 on that?
Yeah, about 65, 75 bucks
I
a
heard
piece.
something. I think he's.
Chairman Kozlowski, I think I got on.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, I couldn't be there. I'm at a sheriff's conference in Traverse City. But your conversation about taking them in and out of the car, we do the same thing with our MDTs or our laptop computers. We ask the deputies at the end of their shift, because they take the vehicles home and they're able to respond from home all over the county. So it's not an issue. They can grab a couple pieces of equipment and haul it in and haul it back out when they start their shift.
And you're not concerned with, the having to put aside some money for batteries and pads for future use?
Yeah, I know it's a chunk of money, but to be honest with you, I think the initial cost is the biggest thing. At one time, we did have enough AEDs, but they seem to be a disposable, every few years there's newer technology. The ones we had, we were told that we can't use those anymore. Couldn't buy batteries, and like I said, the technology has changed. We just had to upgrade. We couldn't afford it. But I think we're in a position if we can purchase them, if we can find the money, I think it would be an asset for our community.
And I agree with that, Sheriff. I do think, I just want you guys to know, up front. But I absolutely, we will put them right to work. I mean, obviously, if they get a call, they can respond. They can surely help us do CPR. We even have the city cops come in the city and we're close by. So 100% supportive. We'll continue to teach all the sheriff's department staff CPR every 2 years like we already do. That's not a problem.
Well, and also in that number of units, we didn't count for a second one in our building, because our building is quite large. Not sure where we'd put that, if it's towards the lobby or more on the deputy end, but also for extra AED, so we could have out with the Marine Patrol when they're out, or our ATVs or snowmobile patrol, because heaven forbid if they're something out on the lake, we have an AED that can run out there or on the trail. So
In the letter, the sheriff's indicating that it would come out of the ambulance millage
The ambulance fund, yeah.
fund. Which one is that? Which line item is that on the line? Is that the city contract payments or? Jesse, what is line item is that? I'm just curious.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if there's a specific line item.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, it's even listed, but I can find where that would go, if you give me 1 second, so.
Do you have to approve the ambulance millage stuff?
I don't believe so.
Okay, it's us that has to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we follow the guidelines. I mean, it does fall under that guideline, but hold on, I can give you the number would come out of if you want that.
No, I just want to make sure that we
Okay.
know which it is.
Oh, yeah, I do know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in there. I just didn't have it written down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't need it.
My
Oh,
question would be,
okay.
batteries, they have this lifespan.
Yep.
Would it be not better if we spread this out over a couple of years so they're not all going bad at the same time or have to be replaced?
You could, absolutely, but I think the sheriff wants to get them in all the cars as soon as possible. The ones they're going with, and Sheriff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, they're going with like a Duracell, I don't know if it's a C or a D battery, so they're not going with these bigger batteries. And so, again, it's hard to tell, as long as they're not getting used, you don't need new batteries in all the time. Pads are good for about 2 years and then you have to replace those. Again, I see what he's trying to do. He wants to get them all now and get them all distributed, that does become a problem, Dan, like you also said, that means 10 years when they're outdated, they're all gonna need to be replaced. I get that, so.
Okay, so I guess
No,
we'll.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, no, it's a absolute.
I'll say this, you can replace batteries and equipment, but you can't replace lives.
There you go.
Yeah. So I guess we'll look for a motion to forward this as an action item to a full board is
I'll
for approval. Bill, make a motion.
I'll
Second.
support.
Okay, so we need a roll call.
Commissioner Kozlowski,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray.
Yes. Jesse, you guys will take care of all.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, looks like we're all set.
Speaking of Rob,
Yeah, Chief Evans is on vacation today. I'm not sure he didn't tell me I had anything to bring, so I apologize. I don't have any monthly late.
You said you'd come with a detailed report.
Okay, my detailed report is, we are very busy. I don't know why. But 2 weekends ago, we had over 40 calls. Now, just to give you an idea, that could be a car accident with 5 calls on that car accident. But for some reason, it's been really, really busy.
The weather.
I don't know what it is, but we're probably looking to go over 5,000 EMS calls, not EMS and fire, EMS calls this year, which is another increase.
We do have a financial report submitted by the treasurer's office, which we can receive and file. Okay,
Sure.
okay, so take,
And I did get some clarification quickly. They want me to get with Jesse afterwards about that funding request, the refund.
Okay,
I was texting Rachel and Anna.
okay.
So they thought maybe they're waiting at your end to say, yeah, go with it. So I'm not sure. Jesse, not trying to
Oh, no, that's what that works.
okay, maybe.
caught in the middle.
Yep.
Sorry.
Okay, okay, so take a motion to receive and file the,
Make the motion.
A support.
okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. So next we have Kim. Done.
Afternoon. So I've been submitting my, all volume data to Kim. I don't know if you're finding that more helpful to have that in your packet rather than me trying to lab numbers out that you can't really digest. For those in the room, we had 4,195 calls last month. I'm kind of a data nerd, so I like also looking at our average call time, 2.8 seconds. The average call duration for the month was 1 minute and 30 seconds. And the longest call length is 21 minutes and 48 seconds. You definitely don't want to be that person needing that long phone call, right? I also wanted to mention, so our previous system that we had, we were not able to pull our own data from that system. So this system went live the end of March earlier this year. So once we hit that 1 year mark next year, I'll be able to also give you year over year comparisons, but I don't have the capability to do that yet. I'm looking forward to being able to do that. Last month, the former sheriff was here and voiced some concerns about the storm. So I invited him back to my office after the meeting and I went through my PowerPoint that I used for the debriefing with the stakeholders. I went through that with him and answered all of his questions. And he left. He said he was very pleased with the information I provided him and he felt really good about what my office and our partners,
That's,
what we all accomplished. So I wanted to make sure and follow up and let you know that I met with him. So today I approved the largest round of our project expenses with FEMA for the ice storm. They had compiled the expenses I submitted for our emergency protective measures. And our reimbursement for that is going to be $54,465.76. We also still have, so those are called a category B, that's the emergency protective measures. We also have a category B project, E as an elephant, for the walk-in freezer compressor that was damaged out at the jail. That is $7,440. That'll be the next part of our total reimbursement that they look at. So that project E will be the next one. The grand total between the two is $61,905.76. So we have the bulk of it approved today, and the process has started toward getting that project closed out. So I sent that off to FEMA today, and I'm really pleased to have that in the rearview mirror. We had our new dispatch hire started on the 12th. So he's in his second week with us now, and we're excited about that. You may have seen us, I guess I have this down the list further. I don't know if any of you do follow our social media page, but I would invite you to follow our page if you're interested at all. It's Alpena County 911, emergency management. We've gotten more active on our social media page. I have one of our team members every month, around the first of the month, he writes up a post with different unique facts about 911. He calls it a "Did you know? Did you know?" And he puts out information for the community to get to kind of know some of the intricacies of working in 911 or different things that go on for us. So one of the things we recently shared is we participated in the Fire Prevention Week event that was held at Home Depot. And so we have pamphlets for what to teach your children about 911. So we always take those along. And our lead dispatcher, Rory, he was there for the whole day. I was there for part of the day, but he takes our it's called the MAC kit. It's like the backup to our backup system for the 911 calls. And he takes that with us and lets the kids see it and talks to them about calling 911. And it was a really great time. That week, we did a lot of talking about Code Red. We had an article in the newspaper. We had TV station came and did an interview, and we've run True North. So we're working really hard to get the word out on Code Red. I'm actually going out to Wellington Township tonight to address the Michigan Township Association, the local chapter. And I'm going to talk to them about Code Red. And I'm hoping to come home with at least 1 or 2 invitations to some township meetings to talk some more about Code Red, because it's really critical for us to get the message out there and get people signed up for
We're
Code
getting
Red.
into winter here.
Yes, exactly. So we're really pushing that. So that's tonight at 6 o'clock in Wellington. We were supposed to have our kickoff meeting this recent Friday for the CAD integration project with the fire. But one of the necessary folks on Central Square, our CAD vendor, one of the essential people who needed to be at that meeting had some kind of emergency come up and he was out of the office for a few days. So we are rescheduled for next Monday, the 27th. So we have our kickoff meeting next Monday. 911 to coordinate with the breast cancer awareness fundraiser that the city does every year. One of our team members designed a t-shirt for breast cancer awareness for 911. And we sold those, and the proceeds of that went to Friends Together. We would like to make that an annual thing, and next year we'll put the word out a little. It was kind of a trial this year to see how it went.
Do the patches.
And we do have a patch that we've talked about doing a pink version of it. So, yeah. So also this Friday, we're participating in the trunk or treat downtown. We are not able to purchase the candy with surcharge funds, and Alpena Buick GMC graciously sponsors our candy every year so we can go and participate. And they have sponsored us again this year, so we appreciate that. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you, I had a really neat opportunity this month. It was something that was not even on my radar to be on my bucket list, but I had an opportunity in September to go present at a conference in the UP. The hospital emergency management team was invited to present at this conference. It's a health department and hospital focused conference. So they had been invited to come talk about the storm. And so they reached out and invited me to go with them, and the 4 of us presented together on the hospital's response, the county's response, and how that all worked together. So I spent a couple days in Sault Ste. Marie with them on that, and it was a really fantastic experience. So it was really nice of them to include me in doing that, but we had a really good time. We put a lot of work into it, and it was, I think the bottom line of every post-storm meeting that we've had, I will just end with this, that the most successful asset we have as a county is our partners. You know, from the CRTC, fire departments, the sheriff's office, those partnerships is what got us over all those humps during the storm. And it was really a privilege to be able to go to something like that and talk about the success of those partnerships. So it was really neat.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was really fun. Any questions?
Questions?
I did get your note about your short like by 2,000 or whatnot. I had an idea. We had the individuals who called into like Walmart and Meyer. I'm trying to track them down to see if they can give me electronic receipts.
Yes,
Cause I had 3 vehiclefuls of food that I took out to Long Rapids, so there has to be at least 2,000.
thank you.
So, give me until the end of the week.
Oh, absolutely. And this is an after thing, but I don't want to be caught at the last minute needing it. So I'm just trying to be prepared. ahead of
Okay,
time.
yeah, but
So-
that should, I think, make us whole.
I didn't even think of that. Thank you. So just one last thing. So FEMA reimburses us 75% of the damages that we submit. However, we can increase our reimbursement payment by any donations that we received will count toward that 25% copay. So I calculated it today in I don't have that number with me. Jesse might have it in front of him. Our copay is 15,000 and change to cover the full project between the emergency protective measures and the compressor at the sheriff's office, 15 and change. I'm currently able to document 13 and change. I need $2,002 and
2 cents.
and that would provide us a full reimbursement of everything that we have submitted to FEMA.
You said you signed off on, the total right now, $54,465.76.
Yes,
Pending the compressor at the sheriff's department, it could go up to $61,905.76.
yes. So if we can round up another $2,000 in donations, that would provide us the full reimbursement. Anything that we can't document between those two numbers, we just don't get reimbursed for that amount. They will only reimburse the 75%, but they will go up depending on how many donations we can document. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we need a motion to receive and file the Emergency Management Services Director report.
I'll make the motion.
Support?
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I jumped the gun on the ambulance report.
Yes,
So,
you did.
yeah, so we're set on that. And so the medical examiner's report, and take a motion to receive and file it.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, okay, so the next meeting is November 17th here.
Oh, wait a minute. There's a correction. The medical examiner's report you just,
Yeah,
so I just wanted to make a correction.
oh, okay.
Yeah. And I mentioned to Jesse
Yeah, I
earlier.
was wondering what happened. I thought maybe you found what you were looking for.
No, I was thinking of, I blanked out there when you said the ambulance. But hang on one second. I mean, it's just a correction. I made a
Okay.
correction on my document.
I usually don't add up the numbers or anything on this report.
So number of cases investigated by MMMEG. The total that he put in this was 14, but it should have been 101. So it's just a correction to that total cases line.
That first step,
Yeah.
okay.
And then one of the other things that I just wanted to make a point to mention is
Oh, I see.
the number of unclaimed bodies. Yeah, number of unclaimed bodies. I don't know what's going on in Alpena where you're not claiming
Well,
your loved one's body, but we're at 5 and in the last 3 years, we've had 6. Well, start claiming those bodies, people.
oh, that's bad.
Sure.
Whatever. Don't have any real.
Yeah, it could be indigent.
Some of it is the cost of,
Well, that's what Jesse was saying. He's like, you know, if
Of visitors
they
in
know
town.
that the county's gonna cover the cost.
Yeah,
well, some of it, again, I've been on a couple of them. I don't go on a lot of them, obviously, but I know it's an issue. The mom and dad don't have much money, or they've been estranged from the mom and dad. Now the siblings don't. And they're like,
You're saying that you've been on and you know how do you know the cases of the people that aren't getting claimed?
Because them are the ones that we have to take to the morgue.
Yeah.
So when we get called, John, we get there, if the medical examiner comes to the scene like they always do, and they try to find the next of kin, and the next of kin says, yeah, but I'm not claiming the body, because if they say I'll claim the body, the bill goes to them.
Yeah.
Then that patient has to go to the morgue, and then it's,
I thought the funeral home comes and picks up. They do.
if we get
If they're
somebody
contacted,
to
okay.
Accept them.
Okay.
And Nick should have, Nick can explain better. Sometimes there's a rotation too, that they can be picked up. They rotate through, no, it's my understanding.
It's too bad.
Yeah. It is way so sad, Lucille, but that's the truth of the world.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, when we're at 5 just this year,
Yep.
and we've had 6 in the last 3, that's kind of concerning.
Yep.
Going to that ad hoc, that homeless ad hoc, those meetings really get you, thinking, it's just,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, look for a motion to adjourn.
Well, I'll make that motion.
Oh, okay.
Support.
Support, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay.